to the Skeinz Diaries. You're with Marie. Today is Thursday, the 12th of November, and would you believe it is episode 50 of the Skeinz Diaries today? So, yay for us, 50 episodes that we've gotten to in this new format, which is absolutely fantastic. I can't believe where that's gone. It's quite amazing, really. So, go us. And we're going to try something new out today for our 50th episode. I really do. That's why I'm a touch late, because I've been beta testing this before I came online, because I wanted to see if I can make it work. So fingers crossed it will work. But before we get to that, we'll have a bit of a catch up. How is everyone this morning? So the big first catch up for those who may have been watching the national news over the last week. Yes, we've had a little bit of wet weather here in Napier. So I spoke to you, I think I mentioned on the video on Monday when I was live about how it was, raining. It was raining quite heavily here, and I think you could possibly, the microphone might have picked up the rain on the roof. It was crazy. So to give you an idea, I think I left here. Oh, that's right. I needed to leave here by just after 3:30 to pick up my sons off the school bus. It was just too wet for them to walk home. It was seriously. The torrential rain started at around 10:30, 11 in the morning, and it did not let up until about 9 p.m. that night. And it was, think of the heaviest possible rain shower that you usually get in a day, and it just was like that the whole time. So all day here at the store, we were looking out the window going, wow, this is incredible. It's just not letting up. And didn't think too much of it. And by the time I picked the boys up and got home and got back to where I live, which is actually just in Ahuriri, which is down by the ocean, and got all the kids dry, because it was a real mission, even just getting from the school bus into the car and then home and out of the car into the house and staying dry. It was just utterly bonkers. So we did that. Oh, and in fact, I might even be able to, with my new toy, might be able to show you some stuff. So while I'm telling you, I'm going to check out something first. So we did that. And then we had, this crazy rain. And so I was getting all the boys dry in afternoon tea, because teenagers, they like to eat. And so we're doing that. And I looked up and I said to my husband and the boys, I said, oh my word, look outside, because there was a little bit of surface water rolling around on the ground, but it wasn't what I would have called like crazy. And hello, it was insane, like this serious river. I'm just trying to see if I can find, it's not playing. Why are you not playing ball with me? When you know you want to. There we go. It was crazy, like super crazy. And we just couldn't believe it. We were, it was like all of a sudden the street had disappeared, and hold on, and we'll pause that, right, and I'll show you that in a moment. So it was crazy. So we were like, whoa, this is insane. And so we were just watching it for a while, and we're thinking, oh, it'll calm down. Surely it'll calm down. And it just didn't. So where I was, a lot of the stuff that you've seen on the news is actually Napier South and Onikawa, which is literally right where we are here in the store, and all the suburbs to the south of us. And they had both Damien, our lovely Damien had to walk to work on Tuesday because he couldn't get out. He was floodwaters all around him. The same with Veronica, who works here. They both walked to work because they couldn't get vehicles through. And their floodwaters just came up, and it was like a lake. If you saw the aerial footage, that was Whitmore Park. It was like Lake Whitmore. It was insane. What we had was the runoff from the hills. So we didn't actually have quite so much this lake. What we had was actually sort of a river. And I'm going to see if I can hopefully get this up for you guys. And I'm going to go back and see if it's going to let it come up, because there we go. I'm going to share this with you. And hopefully it works and you get to see it. So I am going to do this. Oh, there we go. Look at that. All right. 1, 2, 3.
Oh no. Oh no.
My son got quite, he couldn't believe it. And hopefully there's no bad language.
Oh my god, look at the rubbish bins.
There are our rubbish bins sailing down the street.
Do you want me to go see them? I can go now. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
So as you can see, I hope you guys got to see that. It was pretty mental. Here in the shop, we had, funnily enough, our warehouse at the back, which is what we were most concerned about, because Onikawa was incredibly wet, and to the road to the mill, which is Niven Street. If anybody saw the shipping container that was sailing down the road, that was literally at Rembrandt's, which is just before you have to drive past that to turn into Hashia Place where the mill is. So we saw that and we're like, because we have been flooded in the mill before. About 10 years ago, the Onikawa stream flooded, which runs behind us, and those floodwaters all came in, and I remember it well. We had right through the entire mill, most of the mill, I think, and so we thought, oh, this is not good. This is, it's going to be a real mess. And so Brendan literally had to get his togs on and wade, because the waters were still up in Niven Street. He had to literally wade his way into the mill first thing on Tuesday morning. And would you believe the water had come all the way up to the doors, but didn't actually breach inside. So we were so incredibly lucky at the mill. Here at the shop, we didn't get anything in the warehouse. We saw how the water came up to the side of the building. I think I showed it to you in the video on the Tuesday, and actually came up to the side of the building, but didn't actually penetrate through. So we were incredibly lucky there, and only came partially the way up because we have a roller door that side, didn't quite get as far as the roller door in the front in the shop. It did come through the windows. We've got sort of ceiling to floor windows. It came up and it sort of seeped through there and seeped through partially on the other side. So we did have some puddles, but all our shelving has this sort of much of a lip before the yarn. So it didn't go past that. It just meant all the shelving, which is MDF, all got sort of a bit water damaged. So some of our shelves look a little bit delaminated and warped at the minute. So, but that's okay. We were insured for that. So we have been so incredibly lucky. But yeah, the cleanup on Tuesday was relatively minor. However, I know a number of our neighbouring businesses have been cleaning up pretty extensively, so it's been really tough for them. And thank you to everybody that sent out their good wishes to us, because it really did make a difference for everyone, because it's tough. There is still, I know in my street, you saw the video there, the neighbour almost directly across the roads off to side one, right through his house. So he's been cleaning up the last couple of days. The neighbour 3 houses down, she had over a metre, came straight in to her property, over a metre there. Flats just a little bit further up the road, which were lower lying than what we are on a back section. All of those flats were actually flooded out. So it's been a bit of a busy week for a number of us told. So, see, Margaret's here. She's saying, cleaning out flooded garages. Yeah, there's been a lot of that. I think lots of the garages got nailed first, obviously. So it has been, pretty crazy, pretty crazy. So, so that has what we have been up to for this last little bit. So let me just pull back up what I was going to show you on my new toy, which I think it looks like we're going to get working. I'm still getting used to all of this stuff. I'm a radio girl. I used to work in radio 1,000,001 years ago, and that was easy, because basically you talked out into the ether with a microphone, and you had dials and knobs that you had to twiddle, but you didn't actually have to really worry about all these other bits and pieces here. But you know what? That's okay. We learn. Right, there we go. I'm going to pull this one back up because I just absolutely love it. Right, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Good stuff. All right, the nice thing, the positive about sort of the crazy old weather, and we had more rain yesterday, and we did actually down our street have a little bit more flooding. Not as bad as it was, not the river that you saw, but certainly very blocked drains that were even more blocked because of all the debris and the silt and everything else that came down. But that's okay. We got there. It meant that I got some knitting time in with my Rebel. So I can now confidently say, let's move that because I know that's going to go sailing. I have now, and I tried this on this morning with the girls. Let me get my shoulder up. Here's my shoulder there. I have, cast out. So I'm going to show you this. So I have a slight marine modification for two very different reasons. I did to the measurement that was suggested, which was 7.5 centimeters of this lovely ribbon on a 3.5 millimeter needle. And you were to come back and then back to right side row and cast off. And I realised that I was right at the end of my skein and I wouldn't have had enough. I would have had enough to come back, but not enough to cast off. And I just could not be bothered casting off and having all these different ends. And I have to say, with this yarn, and I quite like doing a purl 2 together wrong side row cast off, particularly with stuff like this. Let me get the other side here so I can hold it up. There we go. So I have actually done that, and see how it's gone and given this very nice flat edge. And I'm actually quite happy with that. And for me, it just sits really, really nicely. And I quite like that little detail. It's not like totally in your face that's what has gone and happened because of the patterning in the yarn, but that's one of the things that I've done. The other thing that I wanted to do, because I have seen everyone else's finished ones and just, I'm feeling completely inadequate because I'm so far behind, is that I loved the contrast pockets that were being done. So I thought, no, I have to do a contrast pocket. So here is my little peekaboo contrast pocket here. Ta-da! And not that it's not sewn in yet, but at least it's done. So this is my contrast pocket, and this is done in some Sock Bandit Daring jelly, which of course is perfect, as you can see, with the yarn. Like it was, like if there was going to be a semi-solid yarn made for this one, it was this, to the point that I think I'm going to have enough of this custom dye left over that I can use some Daring jelly to do another project with, actually. But absolutely love it. It's perfect. It's the same base yarn, so it just blends beautifully, and the colour is ideal. So those are my contrast pockets done, which meant that I could go around and pick up and start my sleeves, which I have done. So I started these last night. So the one thing that I have gone and done is, because I wanted to, I sort of measured it. It's coming down to about here. Had a little measure of the arm, and in fact, I tried this on this morning with the girls to have a look, and I have actually gone and picked up the arm size, actually 2 sizes down from the size that I'm knitting. So I'm actually going for a slightly narrower arm. I had a bit of a decision to make. I know that my tension often changes when I move from knitting flat to knitting in the round. I find that it can change by about half a stitch and get a little bit more relaxed because I'm just doing the same, stitch over and over again. And there is this funny phenomenon where when you work flat, that your tensioning on your purling is slightly different than your tensioning on your knitting. And I wanted to make sure that my sleeve didn't blow out too much because it's been knitted in the round. So my options were to either drop a needle size and knit the number of stitches there, or to knit using current needle size suggested, but actually pulling the number of stitches back. I decided on option 2 purely for the practical reason of I have short tips for my interchangeable needles in the size that's written to the pattern and not a size down, and it means that I can use my natty little 30 centimetre cable, which means that I can just go round and around in circles and I don't have to use 4 needles or magic loop. Yes, I've been lazy, brutally honest. But in saying that though, the tensioning isn't too bad, as you can see there. This has actually been steamed, this portion here, and it does puff up a little with a bit of steaming. So I'm quite pleased. So I've just started that. And when I say that I've dropped it back, I think we're talking, I can tell you actually, I wrote it down. I'm talking 6 stitches. So, I mean, not the end of the world. So instead of picking up 88 stitches, I've picked up 82. But yeah, as you can see, so you just, and I'll just, where's the bottom? There's the bottom. And there's the sort of bottom there. You can sort of just see it there, the pickup line there. So yeah, progress. So I'm really happy with that. And from what I've seen in everyone else's projects, because this is a drop shoulder, nice short sleeves. Yes. So hopefully they shouldn't take too long. So with any luck, I can crack onto those and at least get one of them knocked out over the weekend, which I'd like to do. And I'm really keen to get that finished and get it worn, because just nice light cardigan, I'll certainly get a little bit of wear out of it before the summer truly hits. So that's my progress with Rebel. So I'm really pretty happy with that. And I'm loving seeing all the different options out there and what people are doing. Claire's having a little bit of swatching at the minute. She's decided she's going to jump in on the Rebel bandwagon, and she's actually got a single roving that she had in stash at home that she's using. Where I'm at in terms of how much yarn I've used at the moment, I have just dived into my 4th 100 gram skein of this custom dye, and I think I might have to squeak into the 5th one with the sleeves, but I'm kind of hoping I won't. I think I might get away with 4, which would be fantastic, but which should actually be about right, because I know that when I was doing some calculations on other things that I've knitted, sort of like little croppy cardigans, I can actually get away with about the equivalent of 8 DK balls of, 8 50 gram balls of full play for a sort of simple 3/4 length sleeve prop cardigan for me. So that is about where it should be. So I'm really, very, very happy. Right. What did I want to chat? Right. What I'm going to chat about today. Yes. I haven't written anything down. Sorry, but hopeless. I was far too busy beta testing with this new toy that I totally forgot to write some notes down. Sorry. I know. Hopeless. Absolutely hopeless. Anywho, right, let's get this. Oh, yay. It's so exciting. This is so exciting. Anyway, what did I want to talk about today? On Monday, I talked about some ideas for Southlander, because it is Southlander, Spotlight on Southlander this month. So I know a heap of Southlanders been going out, and we've got more Southlander coming in. So the girls were telling me that the dusky blue is back in. I just need to make sure that it's been loaded up. Claire is back around at the middle at the moment. We were bringing some more stuff over on the truck. So definitely by the end of the month, there is going to be more Southlander in. So if we don't have the shade that you want, honestly, the numbers of shades that are sitting there to be bought, and all of those we've asked to be bought in priority. So we should manage to squeak them in by the end of the month for you. So don't panic on that. And it does just represent such tremendous value to be able to knit particularly larger garments and not spend crazy money, and have these beautiful garments that are designed to look amazing and last the test of time. The other thing too is you want to be able to knit designs that are sort of fairly fashion forward and just look really sharp and really now and really today. So I showed you some designs on using Southlander bulky last week, but not everyone wants to knit with heavier gauge yarns across the summer months, and a number of you want to knit sort of lighter weights. So the summer knit along that I had last year before, was this, which is, I'm just going to pull this here. So this is the Pop Top Cardigan, and this is by Amber O'Brien, and it's a great little cropped cardigan knitted in Southlander Sport. This is using the charcoal and the goldenrod, and a number of you knitted this with me. It was a super easy thing to knit, loads and loads of fun. I really enjoyed it actually, and in fact I may even use what I've got left with the yarns I have there, and potentially even do another one of these using the Daring as my contrast. It really is a neat little cropped cardigan, and I have it sitting here on one of my dresses just to show you. This is literally something that I would wear here at work, and it's awesome. You can wear it done, have it worn done up. We've just pinned it closed, or you can have it left open. But as you can see, the Southlander, it's a lovely softer fabric. So this is one we can certainly recommend. Now, I know in Southlander Sport the goldenrod is coming, so if you check out online, it is not there at the minute, but it will come. But it doesn't. You don't have to use the goldenrod as a contrast. I mean, you can actually go classic monochrome black or white, or even charcoal and oatmeal. Actually, I really like bracken and cream. There are so many different combinations you can do. So that Pop Prop cardigan is one we've already done, and it is, we know, an absolute winner with those yarns. But I wanted to have a look. So this morning I started digging around and having a look at designs that would suit our Southlander Sport, because this is a yarn that for me is so versatile, because it's a yarn that you can actually tension up or tension down depending on what you want to do. That Pop Prop behind me, I tensioned down in terms of the number of stitches, or up in terms of the needle gauge, and I used a 3.75mm needle. And the fabric on that is beautiful, light. It doesn't, I've got great cover factor. It's coping with the wear. I'm not having issues with pilling with it. It looks fantastic. And it gives you this really wonderful, light, durable fabric. I did the same with the Goldwing. Goldwing was also knitted on 3.75mm needle. Part of the reason you can get away with this, and as I grab this to show you, is you can get away with it because of the construction of this yarn. So this is a 100% wool yarn. All our Southlander is made from fibre grown here in New Zealand. And in fact, it's North Island grown fibre, and it's classic New Zealand crossbred. And it's done to a certain micron count. And this has had the most minimal amount of treatment that you can have possibly. I mean, this is literally what you see when you drive anywhere around here. You see them on the sides of the hills. And look at that. Look at the spring in that, will you? Boing, 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 boing. This is what wool is all about. We absolutely love it. If you are wanting a yarn that is literally from farm to yarn, Southlander is it. It is pretty much New Zealand, I think, New Zealand's classic yarn story. So the way we've done these Southlander yarns is it's what's called a common count yarn. I should have grabbed some of the others. I didn't know I was going to head down this direction when I started this conversation, but there you go. Right. So this Sport, we call it sport weight. This Sport is actually technically spun to a 4-ply weight, but because of the boing and the bounce in there, you can get away with knitting into sport weight patterns or 5-ply patterns. If you were talking to Peter, he hates the fact that we call it 5-ply because it's technically not a 5-ply. It's spun to a 4-ply. It's like, we know, Pete. But here is our single. You can see our singles there. There are our singles. And this is a yarn that I think is very, very close to hand spun. So if you're a hand spinner out there and done a lot of hand spinning, this stuff will look very similar to anything that you have spun, a lot of stuff that you've spun at home in natural styles. So we take this single yarn, and to make this finer weight, we just twist 2 of these together. The DK is 3 of these, and the bulky is 4 of these. Ding! So if you ever get caught short and you're wanting to do something in bulky and we don't have the weight in bulky that you're after, you can actually double strand this guy onto itself and knit it, and boom, Southlander bulky right there. There you go. There's something you didn't know. And that's perfect if you're wanting to sort of play around, or if you want to do a marl. So, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent, I know. So if you were, so the marl, so I showed you on Monday that really cute Susan B. Anderson pattern, the waffle puppy, that really gorgeous little knitted toy. And it was using a really beautiful marled yarn. Well, to do your own marled yarn, all you need to do is double strand. Now, I've just gone and twisted these in my hand, but you just hold them together. If you've not double stranded before, trust me, double stranding is the easiest thing in the world to do, and it just expands your opportunities to play around with colour and texture and weight so much more. And this is why these finer weight yarns are perfect for this. So then you just hold them together. And this, if you're going to do that waffle puppy, which is done in a 12 ply, and you want that marled look, you can get it just using these two sports shades. Easy peasy. But the other nice thing about this yarn, because of the bounce and the bowing, and this is the point that I was going to get to before I got sidetracked with myself, is you've got that bowing there, right? The neat thing with it is that you have that extension of gauge. So I talked about the gauge going up and how I was able to do sort of lighter fabrics, but you can also have the gauge go in the other direction as well. And quite often when you're looking at patterns that have been a Nordic pattern, Scandinavian designs, and especially Shetland designs, they all have much firmer gauge and often are using yarns which are knitted on a much smaller needle gauge. So we're talking 2.75, 3 millimeter, 3.25 at a stretch. And this is the sort of yarn that they're using. Jameson and Sons 2-ply is probably the most famous. It's brilliant because it comes in little 25 nuggety gram balls, a wide variety of colours, which they do because you have these patterns with like 15 colours in them. If anyone has knitted a Marie Wallen pattern, you'll know what I'm talking about. We don't have that many colours, obviously, in Southlander Sport, and they come in 100 gram balls. However, this is pretty much exactly the same count as Jameson's and Sons, and ours is a worsted spun, which means, can you hear that? It's tough. If I had a woolen spun yarn and I did that, it would go snap. So it's nice and tough. So then you're saying to me, okay, Marie, we have all of these properties, but where do I go and find all the patterns for Southlander Sport or this finer weight Southlander where you have it? This is what I discovered this morning, and this is why I played around with my new toy, and hopefully I'm going to make this work. Voila. Meet. And I'm going to do, can I do this? Oh, look, this is so exciting. So the first thing I did was jump into our friend Rav, and what I found time and time again, I was searching initially for Jameson and Smith yarns, and of course the name that kept popping up again and again and again was Kate Davis. And I talked about a couple of her patterns on Monday, and Kate, her designing is prolific. Like, she is such a prolific designer. She has designed so much over the years, and she's a Scottish designer. She's passionate about the traditions of Scottish knitting. But what she does is she adds a twist to it, and it's very modern and now and wearable. So I was able to actually jump in, and this was the first one that grabbed my eye. So it's called the I think Kufel is the name of that. And it's this beautiful yoked, and I don't know whether you can see my little hand pointing here. I hope you can. This beautiful yoked sweater, yoked at the top with plain at the bottom. And let's have a look at some others. And the beautiful thing about the sweater is that it's something that is easy to knit. Oh, there we go. And it's got all this interesting yoke texture here, and the number of colors that is used in this, I think it was 7. I can go back and check, as well as the main color. Now, we have limited number of colors. You don't have to use all 7, obviously, to get this. You can actually work it out and do more monochrome designs, probably down to a minimum of 4. But what I really suggest too is that if you're wanting to add additional colours in to get these colours that you need, you also have a couple of little options up your sleeve at the moment. One of those options is Cove. Cove is spun to also the same count as Southlander Sport, the Cove 4-ply. So you can use Cove as one of your colour options to actually build your colour range out and still have that beautiful grain and texture in there if you wanted to get those colours. Or if you want some really bright, bold colours in there, some solids, you've got Cozy. That is also spun to the same count. Or the other one to consider is Little Bandit, because Little Bandit too is spun to the same count, and like Cove, is in 50-gram balls. So you're not having to commit yourself to massive 100-gram balls, and you can do balls in the half size. Or dig around in your stash. And as long as it's a natural yarn, and it's not been treated, and preferably a 2-fold twist if you've got it. If you've got anything like half a ball or a bit lurking around, you've probably got enough to do the colour work that you're looking at doing here. So it is just such a really gorgeous little knit. So as I said, this one, and I can tell you the number of shades that it's got, this one is... the gauge is 28 stitches to 36 rows, and it is using that firmer gauge that I talked about. So there we go. It has one main colour, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 contrast colours with that. But the big key here is that if you're looking for designs that are going to fit any of our Southlander yarns, whether those be Southlander Bulky, Southlander DK, or Southlander Sport, honestly, single profile, you can go straight into anything that Kate designs, and there will be something there that not only you'll love, but it will suit the style of the yarn. So it'll be a perfect marriage between design and the yarn, which I think is really important. So let's head through. There was a number that I really found that I enjoyed. One, I talked, there's the owls just there that I talked about the other day. This one here grabbed my attention. This one's actually done in a bulky. It's all 2 DKs held together. But I just thought it was... Oh, hold on. Let's try that. Look at that. I mean, just, it's simple, it's classic, it's adorable. And that on our bracken with cream or bracken with oatmeal would be utterly amazing. Really, really gorgeous. Now, where was the other one I wanted to show you? Honestly, there is so much here. We could spend all day going into these, believe me, but I'm going to show you just a few because I just think that it's... Oh, is it? Am I heading into... Oh, I know where I want to head. I want to head over to here. Because you don't have to... Not everyone wants to knit garments this time of year. Let's face it, not everybody does. This was one that caught my eye, and this one is called Otter. And it caught my eye because she uses actually a sport weight yarn, but she has gone, and because it's into a shawl, you can really up your needle size. And this one also caught my eye as well if you are a homespun knitter, because you've got the ability with this design to actually add in some of your own homespun. I just think this with the bracken or the charcoal as a main color, and then you can introduce those stripes. I mean, I would definitely look at contrast. You've got cream, but you could play around if you've got some little bandit left over from projects, if you've got some cove left over from projects, to do those stripes. And it's actually something that is very, very wearable and striking. I mean, look at it. It's just, and it's practical. And that would be a really relaxing thing to knit. Like in the summer, I want things to knit which are just fuss-free and not too challenging. And for me, this gives you the combination of something really beautiful with color, but really relaxing and fun to knit. So it is just, I just think it's utterly, utterly gorgeous. So what else is there? Let's have a look and see what else we've got to show you. There was one other that I wanted to have a look at as well. Oh, this is fun. I know there's lots of me clicking around. This is probably more fun for me than it is for you. Sorry. Cardigans, that's where I wanted to go. She has got so many new designs. So here's Carbeth that I showed you the other day, but there are a number of designs here which again just work and translate so beautifully with our yarns. And this was one that caught my eye purely because of the name. Again, it uses sport weight yarn, 3mm needle, and this and I'm going to pull this up. There we go. Actually, can I zoom that in? Am I able to zoom that even more? There we go. Let's zoom that a little bit. Oh, zoom. There we go. Right. This cardigan here I thought was gorgeous. It's called Deco. It's in that beautiful red. As you can see, she's got quite a Christmas theme. We have got the foxy red, which would look amazing in this cardigan, but anything would look beautiful. It's designed, it's got some beautiful twisted rib detailing down the top. It's a very classic sort of a design. And if you're wanting to have something with that vintage look, but with a modern twist, this is certainly the cardigan for you. And the other nice thing with this is that it's knitted on this really beautiful firm gauge. And Ethan, when he was on last week, we talked about, he had knitted the twig sweater using Bohemia Sport, which again is like this beautiful soft two-fold twist. He had knitted that twig sweater using that, look at this, so much fun, that softer twist to get this really firm fabric. And there is something that's really satisfying about that fabric. It doesn't take that much longer than you might think, but it's just you get this crispness and smoothness to the fabric when it's completed, particularly if you've got stitch or color elements in there. They tend to be crisper, cleaner, more defined. They pop, they sit beautifully. The structure and the construction of the garment holds really well and looks really sharp. And it's the whole thing is quite flattering, and this is where Southlanders Sport can work quite beautifully in those finer gauges and just look really quite amazing. So I'm going to pop a newsletter out today just talking about the features of some of Kate's designs, and hopefully you will dive in and have a little look and sort of get inspired by what is available out there. If you know any other designers out there, and you're wanting to, and they have loads of different designs that you think work really, really well with Southlander yarns, do let us know, or flick me a note, or pop it up in the speakeasy and let us know some of your favourites. Pop your pattern suggestions up there, because it'll be great to share those and see what they are. I know that there are a number of Scandinavian designs that translate really well. And it's just about exploring some other options and actually looking around for things that may not necessarily appear in the top 20 pages of what's hot right now in Revelry, but just with a little bit more digging, you can actually see that there is something out there that is actually quite special and quite amazing. And again, at $5.95 a ball for 100 grams, you're able to actually knit something that is such incredible value. I mean, something like this, like that pop crop cardigan behind me, I think would have been about $25 to knit based on the pricing that this is now, maybe slightly less than $30 for someone my size. That's good going in anybody's language. So make sure that you get some garment lots of the Southlander in your stash before the end of the month. And as I said, if we haven't got a colour in at the minute, do definitely make sure you get it in. I've had a few people email me as well to check about stocks, because the last thing they want is for another colour to go out of stock before the one they're waiting for comes in. If you want to make sure that we've got enough of something in stock before you order, just flick us an email at info@skeinz.com and we can let you know, yep, you're safe to wait. No, you might actually want to grab this and get the first order in before the new stuff arrives. Hopefully, fingers crossed, by the time I get the newsletter out, I'll be able to give you some more restocks of stuff that's come in. And I think one of them, I'm pretty certain, was the Dusky Blue DK came in yesterday. So hopefully I'll have one or two more to add to it. Right, that's me. I'm going to go put all of these back, and hopefully this weekend I will get onto the Rebel and get a little bit more done on that. But in the meantime, have a great weekend, and I will see you all again on Monday. Until then, take care. Bye.